Ladies as well as gentlemen, Papa Boris here, back for some more Hearthstone play, and again, we're going to do some constructed play. So if you haven't watched the first video that I made, please go and check it out now if you'd like to. In that video, I make a deck and I talk about it a little bit. I also explain some basic concepts which might be of interest to you if you are new to Hearthstone and don't already know it. Now, if you just want to see some games with the deck, then by all means, buckle up and enjoy the ride, because we're going to get right in. Am I in the right queue? Yeah, I'm in the right queue here. Unranked mode. Okay, I'm journeyman already. Alright, yeah, this is awesome. Anyway, we're going to get right back into the queue and play some more games with this deck. So, if you didn't watch the first video, this is a free-to-play deck that I first saw on Force's channel, and which he got off of Hearthpwn from a user named Myteq. So I'll put the link to the deck list in the description. I am playing with a small change. I'm using Shattered Sun Cleric here, which is a 3/3 that gives a creature +1/+1 when it comes into play, instead of Blessing of Might. And I think it's a really good change, because I think the Shattered Sun Cleric puts a body onto the board, and it buffs the health of the creature too, rather than just the Blessing of Might, so that can give a little bit more durability to your deck. Alright, in this video, we're just going to play a couple of games. We'll see how long it goes. It's 2:06 a.m. now, so we'll go about 20 to 30 minutes. Here's our Frostwolf Warlord, haha. But it's a little bit too soon, so he's a bit expensive. Let's not keep him around. Let's also throw back this Consecration. Not sure we're really going to need it just yet, but we'll keep this weapon for some nice single target removal, and the Shattered Sun Cleric, which is Papa Boris's innovation for this deck. It's just very, very nice, especially when you're a Paladin. You can like make a recruit on turn 2, and then you can buff it on the next turn with the Shattered Sun Cleric on turn 3. Now, we are second, which means first of all we have 4 cards rather than 3, which is what our opponent has, being the first player. And second of all, we have this coin, so here's what it is. It's a 0 mana spell. It gives you a mana crystal for that turn only. So for once in the game, you can act as though you are the first player. Because like basically, I am going to reach turn 2's mana cost before my opponent did. Normally, the first player reaches turn 2's mana level before the second player does. So, in this game, if you're familiar with Magic, you might be wondering, like, well, where's mana? It's very, very simply done. You just gain an extra mana crystal every single turn. Now, I'm up against a Priest. The Priest's hero's ability is Lesser Heal, which heals 2 health to either himself or one of his creatures, or your opponent or your opponent's creatures if you want to. And he just used a spell called Shadow Word Pain. It's a very good spell. For 2 mana, you can destroy any minion as long as its attacker is 3 or less. Well, we're going to go ahead and plot on. Mage could have actually killed that creature for free just using her hero ability. So I'm pretty happy I'm up against a Priest now instead of a Mage, because a Mage would have had to work a lot less hard to kill my stuff. Right, my opponent's going to play Frostwolf. This is a 2/2 with Taunt. Remember, Taunt means it has to be attacked, so I can't actually attack my minion here, my opponent here. I have to attack this Taunt creature. So here is, not to like toot my own horn too much, but here again, the Shattered Sun Cleric is just the boss hoss. We're going to drop a 3/3 on the board, pump a creature, and then we get to kill his guy. Aw yeah, baby. Aw yeah. So, now we're looking pretty good. We've got taunts here to protect our own stuff, and we can also swarm the board a little more with this Dragonling mechanic. My opponent's going to spend half of his mana just healing himself, which is great. He's got nothing better to do, apparently. And I've got some options here. I can play the mechanic. It's the most expensive thing I have. Or I could play the Iron for Grizzly, which has more rounded stats, and has taunt. Well, at the moment, I don't care about taunt. There's nothing that my opponent has that's threatening my stuff, so we will just go ahead and attack and try to use up all of our mana. In general, you know, all else being equal, and that's a very important qualifier, all else being equal, then you should try to spend as much of your mana as you can each turn, because otherwise you're essentially just wasting mana. So if I had played the Grizzly and I wanted to play this later, I'd have to spend 4 mana later, which might have been bad for me. My opponent's going to heal himself again. Does he have... Oh god, my opponent's got, it seems, a very slow draw. He's not doing anything. He's just healing himself every turn. So I guess he's got some kind of a really big play coming up. Well, what's the danger that I run by playing another creature? Not much. Let's just go ahead and drop a bear down and make a recruit. Again, I'm holding on to this Ooze. That Ooze, not being the greatest so far in these games, because Priests don't actually have weapons. Neither do Mages, so this is just a 3/2 for 2, and since there's no particular need, I'm going to go ahead and get a free 1/1 rather than a card 3/2. So here we go. My opponent's played a creature. This is Argent Commander. It's a 6 mana 4/3 with charge. Charge means it can attack on the turn that you play him. You don't have to wait a turn before to attack with it. And Divine Shield means that the first time it takes damage, it actually doesn't take any damage at all. the Divine Shield just pops. So my opponent used this charge with Divine Shield, and the Divine Shield popped when he killed my Ironfur Grizzly, so this thing is hale and hearty. Well, now I think is the time to bust out the True Silver Champion. I'm going to take a little bit of damage from killing my opponent's creature, but that's okay, I've got plenty of health, so we're going to go ahead and swing a ling-ling and make another recruit. So, I really wish I hadn't mulliganed my Frostwolf Warlord. If I hadn't, we would have been able to see him drop onto the board and be gigantic. But as it is, we're doing a pretty good job beating down with our stuff. In fact, I may just start using my weapon to attack my opponent in the face. He is only at 11 health. He's got a Stormwind Champion. I don't think it's going to help my opponent here. It's a little bit late for that. Storm, I got my own guy. Here we go. Let's take a look at this epicness. Gonna go kaboosh. Everything gets really big, and we're gonna swing for the kill. Well, this game didn't really showcase, you know, the deck being that amazing, because my opponent didn't, like, do anything on the, like, 3rd, 4th, or 5th turns of the game. But hey, well, you know what? A win is a win, and that is our game against Viper Silver the Priest. Well, that was fun. What am I? 1-star copper? Alright, that's great. We're going to try to see if we can get 2-star copper. I actually know very little about the rankings. I know that there's 3 stars at each level, and it's like copper, I don't even know, what is the next, silver, bronze, gold, platinum, something like that. At the end of the day, you get to masters. We're up against another mage, Dean the Mage here. So we're second again. Now I'm actually going to send this thing back, because it was okay, but it's not the greatest, because both it and the scout that it summons will just die to the mage's hero ability, which is kind of lame. So let's see what we can get. Here's a Blessing of Kings. We haven't seen these before. In Hearthstone, you have 30 card decks, and each card can go into a deck twice. So you can have a maximum of 2 cards of the same type in a deck. And if you have a legendary card in the deck, that can only go in once. Each legendary can only go in one time. Okay, well, we're up against a mage. We're going second. One of the key decisions you have to make when you do go second is, do I use my coin or not? So do I use my coin right now in turn number 1 to hurry out this ooze, or do I save the coin for later? Let's go ahead and do it right now, because I want to put this ooze down and try to kill off this mana worm before it gets out of control. We've seen this before. This is a card that whenever you cast a spell, gains +1 attack, and so it can very quickly get really, really large and terrifying, which is bad because it only costs 1 mana. So my opponent played Arcane Missiles. It deals 3 damage randomly, split up across your opponent's stuff, and that sucks because my opponent had a 50-50 chance of killing my ooze with it, and he got the coin flip to go in his favor, so my ooze died. Well, because I spent my coin to play that ooze, I can't do anything now. I have to play a little recruit and call it a day. So I'd say that my opponent got the upper hand here. Next turn I can play the Ironfur Grizzly, but my opponent's got a creature into play already, and I have nothing, so it's a little bit dicey here. Well, we're going to fight the good fight. We're not going to give up just yet. We're going to go ahead and play this Grizzly. So this Grizzly has taunt, so my opponent can't attack me. He's going to have to go through the taunt first. And the nice thing is that no matter how big this gets, my taunt will kill it. Unfortunately, my opponent has a Frostbolt. So not only does it kill my Grizzly, but it also buffs the Mana Worm. Now, my opponent actually ended the turn with 2 mana, and she said, whoops. So the Fire Blast here, she could have done that for 2 mana and hit me for an extra point of damage. You can see she's done quite a bit to me with just this Mana Worm. So that's a bit scary. Well, we're going to keep on fighting the good fight here. Let's play Sen'jin Shieldmaster. Try to hold the fort against this Mana Worm. I could have also played True Silver Champion and killed it that way, but I really want to put a creature onto the board and get it to stick if I possibly can. Mages, unfortunately, have a lot of removal, like that Polymorph. So now I just can't get anything to stick at all here. This is very distressing. Well, I think now might be the time to bust out this Blessing of Kings. Let's go ahead and make my sheep really big. Now let's kill this Mana Worm. Finally, the menace is over. So unfortunately, now my opponent can use this extremely good hero ability to kill off the sheep. And we're back to square 1 here. She's going to play a 4-mana creature, this Sen'jin, and then with 2 mana left over, she conveniently kills off my sheep, which is making me very, very sad. So I can't keep any creatures on the board here. This might be a game we lose, but let's do our best to keep some stuff on the table. Let's go ahead and play a Dragonling Mechanic, and let's also make a recruit. Now I'm down really low. I'm down to 18 health. That's pretty sad. My opponent's at max. I haven't gotten any of my creatures to stick for more than a turn, and my opponent's been dealing damage to me consistently thanks to this horrific Mana Worm. Well, she finally slows down to draw 2 cards. She's got 4 mana left. She's going to kill off my 2-1. Notice how good this hero ability is. Granted, mine's pretty good too, putting 1/1s onto the board that stick around for a while. It's kind of nice. But my opponent's is very good, so she's going to do that, and she's got 2 mana left over. She's going to use it to kill one of my recruits. And anything else? She still has 2 mana. Oh, I really hope she doesn't have anything more to play. That would be sad. Because I can handle this. Oh no, Ice Lance. Okay, so Ice Lance freezes a character, meaning it can't attack for the next turn. Well, that's okay. That's okay. I'm alright with that. There are definitely worse things that could happen. Let's go ahead and play True Silver Champion. So it's very important. I like that this weapon gives you healing. So I'm going to heal for 2, then I'm going to get hit for 3 by this engine, and then I'll die. Let's go ahead and play this Taunter now. I really do want to get stuff onto the board as big as I can possibly get because my opponent has a big lead on life here, and I want to start applying pressure. All right, you can see it's really cool how you can see like where your opponent is hovering the mouse. There's that Urgent Commander again, so that's most of her mana, but she gets to pop Divine Shield, kill my creature, ping me with her spell. Well, it's getting a little bit dicey, so let's think what we want to do in this situation. I think I want to make this guy big with my Blessing of Kings, but I'll use my True Silver Champion to kill the creature. We're going to take some more damage, which is a little bit scary because mages do have a lot of burn spells they could be using, but I want to get something really big on hand here. 8 health is a lot, and 6 damage, of course, is also a lot, so I just want to start hitting as hard as I can and also put some more stuff onto the board. So hopefully my opponent doesn't have any more polymorphs. She has a Cone of Cold. So it freezes a minion and the 2 next to it, so I can't attack with either of these creatures next turn. And she's going to play this guy. So this is a pretty nifty card. The next secret you play costs 0. She had a secret, and we've talked about this before. Secrets are things that have a variable effect depending on what happens. I would love to kill this thing, but unfortunately I can't. Yeah, even if I use Consecration, I still can't kill it. And I have to be careful because mages do have that Flame Strike spell, so I don't necessarily want to put that much stuff onto the board. Well, let's go ahead and play a Shattered Sun Cleric to buff this thing up in case some damage is incoming. I want it to be as big as possible. And let's also play a Raid Leader here and a Recruit. We'll hold on to these guys for a little while. My opponent is spamming Well Played because I suspect she is a douche. This is maybe a premature Well Played to signal the fact that I'm about to lose. Yep, there's Pyroblast. That's an epic card. It deals 10 damage for 8 mana. And then my opponent's going to hit me with their creature and kill me. So anyway, that was the game. We lost our second game here. I guess we've won one, we've lost one. Let's go ahead and see if we can play someone who's a little bit less douchey and also rolls over a little bit, and then we have a better fighting chance against. So my opponent really won there on the back of that Mana Worm, because it did a lot of damage to me, and it only cost 1 mana coming down on the first turn, and she kept playing spells and killing all my creatures. So it was well done by my opponent. Could have done without the premature douchiness at the end. So in Hearthstone, one thing you might notice, there's no chat, which I think is really good, because if there was a chat, people would just be horribly toxic all the time. But people still find ways to be douchey, such as by saying, well played during your turn 5 times, to signal that they're about to kill you. We are playing against Baba Mama, which is a nice name, and this is a new class for us. This is a Druid. So the Druid's hero ability gives him a point of attack, so like he himself can go in and attack something, and it also gives him a point of armor. So it's kind of like the mages, except because he's attacking things, rather than shooting them at them from a distance, he's actually taking damage for the privilege. Well, because of that, he can still kill these Tide Hunters. I'm not that excited about playing it. And again, I'll mulligan this back because it's a little bit too early. So we'll keep the True Silver Champ because it's just so good, and when you play, you're pretty much guaranteed to be able to kill some stuff. Alright, this is a very slow start. Kind of makes me regret that I mulligan my 2-1. But we'll have to make do with these recruits for a little while and see what we can do here. There might have been a way for me to have won my other game. We'll have to go back and see. Maybe if there's a way I could have played things a little bit better or in a different order and held off my opponent a little bit better. That was a very nice use of Cone of Cold to freeze my stuff, which prevented me from killing off his creature. Alright, this is a creature that gives all other Murlocs +1 attack. So notice in between his power and his toughness it says Murloc. That's like a creature type. So this is perhaps going to be a Murloc deck that we're facing, which makes me wish I had kept Consecration, because that, yeah, it looks like this is a Murloc deck, so I kind of wish I'd kept my Consecration, because that would be nice for clearing all these Murlocs out. I might be in a little bit of trouble here. Oh gosh, we're drawing all of our late game stuff. So I'll make a Recruit. This might die, though. It's a hero ability. Shapeshift. +1 attack this turn, +1 armor. But if he does that, he spends 2 mana for it, and he's not doing anything else. Oh my gosh! Wow, that is a conundrum. All of a sudden his Murlocs are huge. We might just lose to this Murloc beatdown. My opponent's wisely going to kill one of my creatures here. You don't really want to let Paladins keep any creatures on the board. This is a pretty dire situation. Let's go ahead and play True Silver Champion, so we can actually kill this thing that's making all of his other Murlocs gigantic. Well, I got off to a slow start this game, and that's definitely hurting me, because if I could have played some creatures on the board to trade this stuff off, I would have been okay. As it is, I'm in a little bit of trouble about this Blessing of Kings, but I can't buff anything with it. And if my opponent keeps on playing things, none of my stuff's going to stick. Got another charging Murloc. Alright. All of them are getting buffed by this little guy. I'm going to put Mark of the Wild on that. So this makes this guy have Taunt and +2/+2, so it's preventing me from using my weapon to kill this Oracle, who is causing all of his Murlocs to deal extra damage. Well, I'm definitely in trouble here. There is no question about that. I'm at 10 health, and it's only the 4th turn. So what we're going to do is going to play the Sen'jin Shieldmaster. We're going to hit that thing, because that thing can kill my creature. I don't really want it to do that, even though that means taking some damage. And now I'm only at 7 health, so I could very easily lose if my opponent has any way to throw this out of his way. It's got this taunt, so his creatures kind of have to attack into it. But if he has any way of getting rid of that, I'm in serious trouble. Savage Roar! Uh-oh, that's not good. So all of his creatures get +2 attack this turn. What that means is now that this guy can actually kill my Taunter, and then he gets to hit me for 6 damage. Well, that's awkward. So we had a slow start, and we're definitely in trouble now, because I can't actually play this Taunter yet, and everything else that I play, my opponent can just race by it. So we're just going to go ahead and concede, and we're going to give a well played. My opponent, did he give a well played prematurely? What a douche. Alright, anyway, we're playing up against some doo-doo heads this game, but it's not 2:30 yet, so let's go ahead and play another game, see if we can redeem some of our early successes. We won 2 games, one in my earlier video, then one in this video, and then we proceeded to lose 2 against sort of doo-doo facey opponents. Let's go ahead and see if we can have a little bit better luck. That game was probably my fault. I mulliganed back that 2/1 creature because I was afraid my opponent would kill it, but he actually was playing spells the whole time. He was playing creatures the whole time. So had he used his hero ability to kill my stuff, it would have taken him time, and I might have been able to hang in the game. All right, Cadius the Mage. All right, I'm going first this time. This actually seems like a fine hand. Although, I'm going to get rid of Blessing of Kings, because this is really strong, but you need a creature on the board for it to be good. And just in case my opponent actually kills off all my creatures, it'll be nice to have something else that's playable. So we're first this time. We got our big stuff here. We haven't actually we played this to finish off a game when it didn't matter, but we haven't actually managed to use this yet. So in my first video, I was like, so this deck is built around Frostwolf Warlord. It's the cornerstone of the deck, and then like it never comes into play. Anyway, my opponent spent Arcane Missiles to just deal 3 damage to me. I think we're up against a bit of a newer player here. You generally don't want to do that. You want to save Arcane Missiles for when it actually kills stuff, rather than just dealing damage to your opponent, even if you are trying to eventually burn your opponent out with fireballs and whatnot. So we played this little Novice Engineer to draw a card. My opponent's going to Frostbolt it. Wow. Well, I'm pretty happy to see that, because Frostbolt is a very strong spell. It deals 3 damage for 2 mana, so seeing that go on my dinky little 1/2 is pretty good news. Cadius might have a little bit of learning to do about this game, but we'll see what he can pull off here. He's down a card, because he cast Arcane Missiles on me and dealt 3 damage. So notice I have kind of 6 cards here, plus the board, and she has 6 cards, but the second player has an extra card to start with, so the fact that we're equal on cards shows that she's actually behind. Alright, she's going to use another Frostbolt to kill my creature. She's going to use the coin, I'm guessing, to use the hero ability to finish this off. Well, now we're in really good shape, because my opponent hasn't really achieved anything. She's just killed the stuff I played, but she's also threw away a card for the Arcane Missiles. Notice if my opponent had kept the Arcane Missiles around, maybe it would have been able to like kill the boar for her, or you know, something else. So you should definitely want to wait with those spells until such a time as they're actually useful. Alright, the Wand Elemental is a nifty card. It's very, very sturdy. It deals only 3 damage, but it has 6 toughness, and it's quite sturdy. It also freezes anything that gets attacked. So it's actually kind of important, because if he attacks me, I will get frozen and I won't be able to use my weapons. So I could play this guy. He'll come down as a 6/6, but what I want to do instead, though, is maybe kill this thing. Yeah, I think I want to do that. Well, yeah, I want to kill it. Sorry, whoa, 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 this is Consecration. I thought this was Blessing of Kings. Whoops. Well, in that case, we don't really want to do that, do we, huh? Let's go ahead and make a Frostwolf Warlord. So he's a 6/6 for 5 mana. That's pretty cool. He holds up very well against this Water Elemental. And since my other creatures just die to it, we're going to go ahead and ignore the Water Elemental for now and pass the turn. Opponent's going to do a Fireball to kill my Frostwolf Warlord, which is perfectly fair. I would not hold that against any mage. And it looks like it's going to kill off my little dragon thing with the Water Elemental. Okay, so I have 6 mana here. Unfortunately, what I'd like to do is play this and my Warlord, but that costs 7 mana, so I can't do that. I could also use Consecration and this mechanic to finish off the Elemental, but that seems like not the greatest use of my resources. Let's go ahead and just make another mechanic and make a Recruit. So hopefully I'm kind of putting more onto the board than my opponent can deal with. We shall see if that is or is not the case. So my opponent's looking at this middle card, thinking about playing it, thinking about it. Shattered Sun Cleric, alright. My opponent, I believe, has only played with basic cards so far, or I might be mistaken. For some reason, she chose to kill my my 1/1 rather than my 2/1. I would say that was probably a mistake. And now, I think is the time. Well, I could play Stormwind Champion. These would get buffed, and I could actually kill my opponent's creatures. That's tempting. I think we'll do that, actually. We'll wait on the Frostwolf Warlord for just a little bit. Let's go ahead and kill the Water Elemental there, kill the Shattered Sun Cleric there, pass the turn, and put it to my opponent what she wants to do with her time. So we're up to turn 7. My opponent could play Flame Strike, but that wouldn't kill my Stormwind Champion. The Polymorph, which turns him into a sheep, will, and unlike previous mages, this one is not going to let me keep my sheep around. Sad, sad, sad. Okay, I could play another Stormwind Champion, but I think I want to do is actually play this. Now is the time to use this card. And then I'm going to play a Frostwolf Warlord here. He's a 7/7, very large, as well as in charge. He'll survive Flame Strikes. He doesn't even give a crap. And my opponent could kill this, though, with Fireball or with Polymorph, but she'd really need, like, most of her turn to do that. So I've just looked at all this other stuff on the board here, helping me out. Alright, my opponent's going to play a Taunt to try to slow me down, and an Ooze. Okay. Well, I have a couple of options. One option is just to equip this weapon and kill the Booty Bay Bodyguard that way. Another option is to play Consecration, and then that will kill the Ooze, deal 2 damage to my opponent, and also finish off this Booty Bay. I like that plan. That seems like a good plan. Let's go ahead and use Consecration here. I have another one in my back pocket if I should need it later. Let's go ahead and finish this off. Swing, 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 and let's go ahead and make a Recruit. And we'll hold on to this Ooze. In case my opponent has any kind of mass removal, I don't really want this to die. So we'll see what we can do. My opponent is down to 10 health. She might be in trouble. Elven Archer. Deals the damage when it comes into play. Just going to ping off my Recruit. Alright. And Gelbin Mechatorch. This is a legendary card. So it creates an awesome invention. What invention did we get? We got a Repair Bot. At the end of your turn, restore 6 health to a damaged character. Well, this is random, and it chose to actually heal my own character. That's funny. Well, now we're going to go ahead and just win the game. Let's play Consecration. Here we have a number of ways to win it. That'll deal 2 damage to my opponent, and then my Frostwolf Warlord, the Giant, will finish it off. Wow, that was great! So we got a chance to see the Stormwind Champion and the Frostwolf Warlord in action. My opponent is polite and lost to me, so it's really everything that I could hope for in a great and gracious opponent. Now we're up to about half an hour, so thanks so much for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. Please leave your comments below. This is, a new thing for me making these constructed videos, so let me know what's working for you and what's not. If you have any questions and you're new to the game, please ask. I'm a pretty small fish in the YouTube pond, so I see all my comments and I have a chance to respond to as many of them as I can. As long as I understand what your question is, I will definitely give you some kind of a response. And in my next video, we'll probably make a new deck, and we'll play with it to see how it goes. We'll start to use some of the common, rare, epic, and maybe even legendary cards in the decks that we make, the cards that I found from the packs that I've opened, and we'll have some fun with that. Alright, so thank you again for watching. If you enjoyed the video, do please like and or subscribe, and I shall see you again soon. Till then.